Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So, York Day 2, obviously York Day 1 started quite nicely, JM Jungle winning for us. Democracy Dilemma went half a furlong too early again, didn't he? If they can get that horse to settle just a little bit at the front, there's a big handicap in Democracy Dilemma. We finished first and fourth in the end. I thought for a long time we were going to get first and second, but nevertheless we still got the winner, which is all good. Moving on to day 2, we'll look at the Lowther Stakes to start with, and you can see that the ratings are open for this race as it's the first race of the day, so everybody can see these ratings. And you can see who I like in this race. I am not going to take on Leah Vanni. As I mentioned before, when we were on for the win at Royal Ascot, where the horse went off a whopping 22-1, went off 6-4 favourite at Nottingham. For a Cole Burke horse to go off 6-4 favourite, obviously means the horse is above average. Proven that when winning at Ascot, and she won quite nicely, to be fair. I thought she won it with a little bit in hand, to be honest. I thought she could have won it a little bit easier if the James had gone even slightly later. I think he'll get a bit more of a race here. I think he'll get Heaven's Gate, possibly taking them along a little bit. I think Heaven's Gate will be right up there with the pace, and if Leah Vanni can slot in behind, drawn next to each other in 7 and 8, James can sit in behind Heaven's Gate. I think James can move Leah Vanni out and go past Heaven's Gate. Carl Burke's actually won this twice in the last 5 years, whereas Aidan O'Brien's last win actually came with Fairyland 6 years ago. So it's clearly not a race he sends his top fillies. And yeah, I don't think Heaven's Gate is one of his top fillies. She's good, but the likes of Fairy Godmother, clearly better than her in the Albany Stakes. They had to drop her into a stakes race to win it was a good pot that they won with Heaven's Gate, but I just don't think she's right up to the very best of the Aidan O'Brien fillies, whereas Leah Vanni I think could be one of the best fillies in the UK. So yeah, I've got no reason to take on Leah Vanni, to be honest. I think she'll get the nice run through behind Heaven's Gate, pick her up, and if James waits a little bit longer, I think he'll finish further in front of Miss Lamai. I don't think any of the others are good enough to challenge Leah Vanni, to be honest. Unfortunately, we're not going to get 22-1 about Leah Vanni. What are we going to get tomorrow now? Let's have a look. 2-1 about Leah Vanni. Love there to be a drift. Go on, drift her out to 4-1, please. Everyone jump on Heaven's Gate. That's not going to happen, obviously. Moving on to the 225, the Yearling Stakes, 250 grand to win this. Who do I think is going to win it? Arizona Blaze. I do like the form of Arizona Blaze. I think there's some really good form behind the likes of Henri Matisse and the Striking Viking in the Group 2. I thought it was a very good effort at the Curragh behind Babouche and Whistlejacket. Obviously, Whistlejacket's come out and now proven that he is very, very good when winning at Deauville in the Group 1. It's proper good form, that. And is there a group horse in this race? More Lamb is good, but I kind of have that horse as being Group 2, Group 3, probably Group 3. More Lamb has had plenty of chances now. Whereas I think Arizona Blaze keeps running into very, very good Group 1 form. Even the effort in the Norfolk Stakes in the Group 2 behind Shareholder and Tropical Storm, I think that would be good enough to win this, particularly as Arizona Blaze ran on his own that day. I think Arizona Blaze is going to take all of the beating here, and I think this is a good pot for Adrian Murray to pick up, as I said, 250 grand. Arizona Blaze is my selection in the second race, the 225. Let's have a look at the odds. You can currently get 11-4 about Arizona Blaze. I think Arizona Blaze will go off favourite. Moving on to the 3 o'clock. Again, nothing really interesting in terms of my selections. We know who they're going to be. We'll start off with Holloway Boy. Runs in a handicap. Surely he's going to find one at some point. I thought he was unlucky at Sandown. I thought he was a little bit unlucky at Goodwood. Just got beat by horses that were slightly better positioned in the fact that they were held up A lot of those that were held up finished really strongly. Holloway Boy was right towards the 4 from a really early stage. And the jockey also reported that he hung right-handed. If being so far forward isn't as much of a disadvantage this time, I think he's going to go really, really close here. Off his, what is he running off, 105 or 106? Just going to have a look. He's running for 106, pound higher. Yeah, not an issue for me. I think Holloway Boy goes really well here at 11s. And the second horse that I'm going to do is Blue For You. Now, I was actually really looking forward to seeing the other David O'Meara horse in this race, Orban. Doesn't run, possibly because they think this one's going to run a huge race. Blue For You, we know he's a York specialist. I think his last 3 wins have all come over this course and distance. He won in July 2024. He won in July 2023. And he won in August 2022. So he won this race of 96, beating Escobar. He then won a race last year, as I said, off a mark of 99, beating What's the Story by 3 lengths. So he won by 3 lengths off 99. He runs again off 99. There's no reason for him not to run a huge race. He went off 7-2 that day. He's 12s at the moment, or you can comfortably get 11s about him. And then last time he won, he actually beat Northern Express off 95. Now, Northern Express has since come out and won himself, winning the Moe and Shandon International Stakes at Ascot off a mark of 102. So he beat a well-handicapped horse anyway. So even though he's up £4, he won it comfortably enough over course and distance that I don't see any reason why he doesn't go very close again off this 99 handicap mark. He's won off 99 over course and distance. He beat a really good, well-handicapped horse who's since won a feature handicap last time off 95. He's £4 higher. He's going to run a big race. And Blue For You, as I said, you can get at 11-1. So I think they've both got huge chances in here at 11-1. Both of them are. Holloway Boy and Blue For You. Moving on to the 3:35 at York, the Group 1 Yorkshire Oaks. And I can't go with You Got To Me because they need to get the fractions spot on. I can't go for Emily Upjohn. I don't think she's running particularly well. Her form doesn't look great. Her 4th of 5 behind Luxembourg and then her 6th of 8 in the Nassau Stakes. They're very moderate efforts. Yes, she was very good at the Curragh when only just being beaten by Blue Stocking, well in front of Content. But she just looks very frustrating and inconsistent. On that basis, though, I think she'll beat Content. She beat Content with giving £12. She only gives 9. So that rules out both of those for me, and it leads me to Queen of the Pride, who, yeah, I think she's gonna take all the beating here. Her form looks very good. She obviously won a Leicester Maiden over a mile and 2. They then stepped her up to a mile and 4 in a listed race on a return. She was only beaten 3/4 of a length. That was on soft ground, and it was after a 222-day break. She then improved on that, running in a Group 3, winning the formerly known as the Pinnacle Stakes, and she won quite comfortably that day, even though only winning by a short head. I thought she was much the best in that Group 3. And then she stepped up on that in a Group 2, winning the Lancashire Oaks, beating Tiffany. Now, Tiffany had been beating everything out of sight that day, coming into that. She was, hugely progressive. She beat Darnation by 2.5 lengths in a Group 3. She beat North Resilience in a listed race by 4.5, demonstrating that she's probably a Group 1 horse. And Queen of the Pride turned her away very comfortably. She beat her by 3 lengths. On that basis, I think Queen of the Pride is the deserved favourite for this race and is the one to beat, and I think she's going to take all of the beating here, to be honest. We've got question marks about the others. Content, I don't think is as good as Emily Upjohn. Emily Upjohn's inconsistent, and You Got To Me needs to be ridden perfectly to back up her recent win. I think Queen of the Pride is much more straightforward, and I think she's the best horse in this race as well. So she is my selection at 11-4 in the 3:35. Moving on to the 4:10, the listed race for fillies and mares over a mile and 4. And I like Satin here. I think they've got her fit. They gave her a run 8 days ago to get her fit for this race, I think. Yeah, she was disappointing on her return. It was a moderate effort last week at Gowran Park. But I think she's better than that, and I think this was the race they had in mind to get her, they needed to get a fitness run into her. I mean, that was just a pointless run last time out. But I want to judge her on her previous effort. At the end of last season, the final run, when she finished 3rd behind Alsakib and Shadow Dance. Now, Alsakib was rated 96 that day, is now rated 111, and was last seen winning a Group 3 race, beating Al Karim. That looks good form, while Shadow Dance was rated 88, is now rated 95, and was last seen finishing 2nd in the Bell Ringer Handicap behind Iron Lion, when sent off the 7-4 favourite. I think that's really good form. I think that's strong form, and this is only a listed race. It's not like it's a group race, like a Group 3 or even a Group 2 or Group 1. That handicap form can convert to listed events, and I think that's probably the best bit of form on show. That run when not beaten that far really by Alsakib and Shadow Dance, and I'm happy with that as my selection in this race. I think I wouldn't be like super confident. I think it's a very close race, but I think there's a bit of value in Satin, who I think should be a little bit shorter than what she is. We've got Ryan Moore on board. Jessica Harrington doesn't send many to York, does have a decent record when sending them to York, and I think the fact that they're happy to run her so quickly after she was beaten just 8 days ago, I think they've looked at this and gone, that's a very winnable race, we might as well run there. So she's my selection in the listed race over a mile and a half. 2 races to go. We're starting off with the 445, obviously the Nursery 2-year-olds over 7 furlongs, and the 2 I like here are both maidens still, Original Outlaw and Angel Hunter. Now, I always think horses that come into these nurseries that have some good form, placed efforts, but without winning, the handicapper doesn't seem to get them right particularly. He doesn't do a very good job in my opinion. Last time out for Original Outlaw, ran a huge race, finished the next second with the blinkers on in the Goodwood nursery, the feature nursery there. Ran a really good race when Hector probably went a little bit too soon. If he can just delay his challenge, the horse is going to run another big race. It's another one of those Valmont horses that I do like. They're stepping up in trip. They went 6-6, then they went up to 7. Expected to win when they went up to 7. Went off the 2-1 favourite, finished 2nd. Then only went off 9-1, as I said, for a feature handicap or a feature nursery last time out. Ran a huge race, only beaten a neck. I think there's still plenty more to come from Original Outlaw, and if Hector had left it a little bit later, could have been going away at the finish, winning by 3 or 4 lengths, rather than being reeled in by Mr. Chaplin late on. Mr. Chaplin had his chance anyway, was only 10-1 coming into it. They still managed to hold off the favourite in El Burhan, so I think the form was right as well. The right horses were at the front of the field, and that just, for me, suggests that Original Outlaw will run a huge race here tomorrow. The final horse, or the second horse in this race that I think is interesting, is Original Outlaw. Angel Hunter for Richard Hannon. Ryan Moore booked to ride, which is obviously eye-catching in itself. The horse, I think he's run 3 good efforts, finishing 3rd in a maiden at Sandown, in a good maiden behind Anno Domini and Windlord. Both prominent owners, the winners of those. Yeah, and I think Anno Domini is a very good horse. After finishing 3rd on debut, then went to Ascot for another decent race. Finished 4th, didn't get the clearest of runs that day. I think would have gone a lot closer if he'd got a clear run. Probably would have finished 2nd. Probably would have finished 2nd to Tiger Mask, and Tiger Mask had previously finished 2nd to the Striking Viking and has since finished 4th in a Group 2. finishing second to a horse that should have probably finished second. Sorry, finishing second to a horse who's since finished fourth in a Group 2 probably suggests you're better than Nursery class. And I think the fact that this horse hasn't won, the handicapper doesn't really know what to do with Angel Hunter. Dropped back in trip to 6 furlongs last time, and I don't think that suited. And I wonder whether this was the plan. You know, maybe they had an idea that actually we've got a nice horse here over 7. Let's drop him back to 6, get beat, and end up with a handicap mark. And that Nursery at York could be where we send Angel Hunter. I think that has been the plan. Clearly looked like the step back up from 6 to 7 would suit when running on late on at Haydock. I think Angel Hunter's very unexposed and very interesting here in this Nursery. First time in a handicap. Let's just have a look at the price we can get about Angel Hunter and Original Outlaw. You can get 7s about Original Outlaw and 15 to 2 about Angel Hunter. I think both of them are going to run really big races for reasons I've just said. And finally, the last race of the day, the 5:20, we're going to have 2 again. The first one we're going to talk about is Pinafore, who is being ridden by Ryan Moore, and the blinkers are on. Now, I like this horse, and I think the last time this horse ran over 7 was 3 runs ago on the turf. Finished second that day in a listed race behind Jabara. Well, Jabara should have won or did win at Goodwood, but was disqualified in a Group 3. I think will prove to be a Group 1 horse in time. Had previously finished second in a Group 1. I mean, after beating Pinafore in that listed, went and won another listed, then went and finished second in a Group 1, and then effectively won a Group 3, but was disqualified or demoted to second. That's good form. The third horse that day was Soprano. Soprano had went to Royal Ascot after that and won the Sandringham Fillies Stakes, and has also won a Deauville Group 3. That was the last time Pinafore actually ran over 7 furlongs on the turf. A reproduction of that, and Pinafore goes really close here. Then went to another listed race on the all-weather. Didn't like the all-weather. And then dropped back in trip to... dropped back to 6 furlongs for a listed race at Naas. It didn't work. Only went off 6 to 1 that day. Is a massive price tomorrow back in handicap company. Pinafore at 20s. That's too big in a handicap. Ryan Moore on. The blinkers are on as well. I think Pinafore is going to run a huge race here, and that is way overpriced at 20s. You know, does have some form even. Went off 92 for a feature handicap last year, off 90. Okay, he's rated 97 now, but he's going to go off 20 to 1. That's a massive price for me. And the second horse that we're going to do is one of our little angles that we have, Valmont stepping up in trip. That is Queen of Mougins. I think beginning of the season started off in a listed race, then ran in another listed race. Wasn't good enough for those. Dropped into a handicap and got beat by Alpha Kellenich at York. I think that was really good form. I like Alpha Kellenich. And Alpha Kellenich then went to Ayr and won again, winning the Gold Cup trial, demonstrating that effort behind Alpha Kellenich was a good run. Now, Alpha Kellenich was running off an effective mark then of 76. Tomorrow has to run off 88, so £12 higher. Whereas Queen of Mougins only runs off £1 higher. On that basis, Queen of Mougins is going to be right behind Alpha Kellenich, if not beating her. And I actually think with the step up and trip, that will really suit Queen of Mougins. Queen of Mougins then went for another Fillies event, finishing behind Star of Lady M and Rosie Affair. Again, demonstrated that day for me that needed 7 furlongs. They've got 7 furlongs now. Now they can start to really get competitive with Queen of Mougins. And the 11s that you can get, I'm going to say 9s is available. You can get 9s there, 8.5. It's probably 8.5 really. There is 11s, the Outlier at William Hill. Somebody from William Hill is probably going to tip that up and use that as the price. And obviously Bet365 prices are never available. So we're going to say 8.5 is available for Queen of Mougins. I think that goes off shorter. Could even go off favourite Queen of Motion. But I definitely think Pinafore goes off shorter than 20s. 12s, 14s for me for Pinafore under Ryan Moore. So a quick recap of my selections for tomorrow. Starting off in the 150, no reasons to desert Leah Vanni. I don't think Aidan O'Brien sends his best fillies here. Carl Burke's won this twice in the last 5 years. Arizona Blaze to win the lucrative Yearling Stakes. I think the form is Group 1 form, Group 2 form, which I think is better than what the others have shown. 3 o'clock, Blue for You at York has won over this course and distance off this current handicap mark. Last time when it won over this course and distance was off a £4 lower mark, but beat a subsequent feature handicap winner in who was it? Oh, I can never remember that name of that horse. Went to Ascot and won the Northern Express. And Holloway Boy in a handicap. I think he was just in the wrong place last time. He was too far forward. Nothing wrong with the ride. Just turned out that they went slightly too hard up front. Queen of the Pride in the Yorkshire Oaks. I think she's the best horse in this race. I think her form is rock solid. She beat Tiffany, who'd been beating horses out of sight in group races. And Queen of the Pride won it comfortably. Emily Upjohn is better than Content based on their running a couple of runs ago. Content I don't think is good enough, and You Got To Me needs to be ridden perfectly, and I think might struggle to replicate that run last time out. Satin, interesting to see that they're bringing her back so quickly. This is only a listed race. Her effort when third in that feature handicap at the end of last season I think is better than what any of the others have shown so far. Angel Hunter looks very well handicapped. I wonder whether the drop back in trip last time out was to get it handicapped to run in a nursery and not get a mark that is beyond him. Whereas I also feel Original Outlaw, I thought that effort last time out was very good when hitting the front too soon. A slightly more conservative ride from Hector Crouch. I think Original Outlaw goes very close. And finally in the last race, Pinafore back into handicap company. A reproduction of the effort when behind Jabara would be good enough to go very close here. Ryan Moore booked to ride. And Queen of Moujin stepping up in trip, having been running some decent races over 6. I think the 7 furlong will really bring out a bit more out of Queen of Moujin's, and she will go very close here.